have one of our amazing Wonder Women from the command center here, Jodi Bodi. Everybody give it up for Jodi. Jodi has been the right-hand woman on a couple of big projects recently, and there's nobody better to talk problem solving than Jodi, because Jodi has had to problem solve like crazy with the repo fee project that you guys are all familiar with, right? She's the one that did that. She led that project. And then, yes. And then also, and had to deal with us and Baker, and yeah, it's not easy. Super. And then also, she just recently kicked off the Replevin project. And while Reinstatements hasn't heard a ton about this, Specialty Cat has heard a ton about Replevin. For those of you who don't know, we now use Replevin. Somebody in Reinstatements, because Specialty Cat knows, someone in Reinstatements, tell me, what is Replevin?
It's a... You try.
Someone in Reinstatements, I know y'all know. Y'all been around a long time, many of you. What is Replevin? Come on, somebody raise your hand up. Oh, go ahead, Tony. Okay, it's legal. And does it involve law enforcement, Replevins?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
How many of you think yes? Raise your hands. Reinstatements only.
Oh.
If you think yes. If you think no, raise your hand. If you think no, raise your hand. Okay.
If you don't know, raise your hand.
If you don't know or you don't care. Yeah, okay. Fair enough. All right. So guess what? It does. We have to go to the courts, and we're basically getting a legal order to go and get that car. We say, hey, the car's ours. We want to go get it. But this customer has said, you ain't going to get it without that legal order, without sheriff, because my car is staying in my garage, or it's going to stay chained to my basketball goal, and you're not going to take it.
Or I'll shoot you.
Or we threatened your repo agent on for a reason. If you come by here, we're going to shoot him. Okay? Those are Replevin situations. We've recently just started doing that, and our legal team reviews every single one, and it's all because of Jodi. So, yes. So, now that I've given you your proper due, you have plenty of time to talk problem solving. There you go.
Proper due.
You're welcome. Oh,
Was you gonna sit like he was gonna...
Hold on, I'll pause it together.
He was gonna sit.
Oh, are you okay over there now? Okay. So, first let me ask you a question. How many times have you been at work or even at home in a personal situation and you think, I have this plan. This is what I'm going to do today. This is what I'm going to accomplish. And then you get halfway through the day and it's like, wait a minute. This is not how my plan started to go.
That's my diet.
It's every day.
It happens every week, sometimes every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Okay, well, Boozer, you probably experienced it several times a day. That's basically how problem solving has worked in the two projects that Paul mentioned. First one, and I'm going to give you some specific examples. For the flat fee project, let me give you a little background of how this started. As you know, what ended up being the flat fee project was the elimination of all other fees, the storage fees, all the other nonsense fees, and the customer just pays what now?
Repo.
Right, just pays one repo fee, which is great for the customer, right? Y'all heard some really good feedback when it rolled out. Customers were very happy. Paul said some were crying, or maybe it was Paul crying, I don't know.
It was.
I love her.
It was. The way I got voluntold, we'll say, is they were originally approaching it as two different things. They were going to have the elimination of the storage fees at the RSPs, where the customer doesn't pay storage. And they also had it where they were going to the flat fee amount for the RSP. Originally, they were tackling it as two different things. My fearless leader at the time, Nathan Baker, came to me and said, hey, can you help with the storage part of this project? Because it's too much for Carl, even as awesome as Carl is, for him to handle by himself. I was like, let me talk to Carl and really understand what we're doing, and I'll let you know. I talked to Carl. I agreed. And then one day, we moved from me just handling storage to everything combined. So it went from this little chair size project to, 4 rows worth with everything being combined. That was the first problem that I had to overcome. I am not a project manager. I've never been a project manager, but Nathan asked me to take the role because we don't have actual project managers. What do you think is the first thing I had to do? Just throw out some guesses.
Breathe.
Ask for a raise.
Dang it, I didn't think about that.
Breathe.
So Carl and his team had the very difficult part of actually having the conversations with the RSPs. Thankfully, I was not part of that because he personally spoke to every single RSP, explained what we were doing and why we were doing it. So I didn't have to do that. But I had to come up with a plan. Like I said, I've never been a project manager before. So I had to come up with, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Who needs to be involved? And then I find out, hey, legal and compliance. They have to be involved. Second problem, finding time on their calendar. Some of y'all probably have experienced this and know it's virtually impossible to get Nate Anderson and Greg Elsie in a room together. Especially within a week's notice. So, very specific planning, making sure I had timelines set up. So we fast forward. There were correspondence impacts, right? Because the NOI tells the customer, hey, you have to pay storage. Hey, you'll have to contact the RSP to find out what fees have to be paid. Well, we can't leave that in a letter when we know they're not going to have to pay it, right? So with correspondence, they have certain timelines, which you have to have all of your letters approved by legal and compliance, and you have to package it up all nice and send it to them. I don't even know how many NOI templates there are. I actually lost count. At the last minute, literally at the 11th hour, there's an issue with one of the letters. We're talking stopping project dead in its track, having explained to Greg Newbecker that, oh, by the way, we said this date, but we were just kidding. So guess who goes into panic mode?
You.
That was me. Oh no, I was in pure panic mode. Because legal and compliance were off site that day with a laptop closed meeting. And it was the cutoff for correspondence. For them to be able, for their tech team to be able to get it involved. And the changes made. What do y'all think I did?
Make an executive decision.
Pride.
I did not want to lose my job, either. Thanks to this wonderful device that I'm sure no one has on their desk.
Oh, really?
No.
Really, Jodi?
I start
I feel like she's
texting
trying to get
Nate
me to lose my job.
and Greg. And I'm not gonna lie, I was begging. I was like, please, just step out of the meeting. Mind you, they're with Greg Newbecker. But I was like, please, there has to be a break. I just need you to review this template and just say it's okay. Do you think that happened?
No.
No, it did not. By the time they were finished with the meeting, it was too late for the correspondence cutoff time.
Wow.
I was like, great. My first project, I failed. What am I going to do? I don't want to explain to Nathan, Greg, Subu, Raja Simon that, we've missed our deadline.
No raise.
So what would you say? Who here has been here, say, 4+ years? In different departments? Okay, 20 I know you have. When you're in different departments, you build relationships with people, right?
Yep.
Yeah? Would you say that sometimes those relationships are the only way you can get things done?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm very happy to say that I used the relationship that I have built with my correspondence point of contact, who allowed me until the next morning to get the letters approved by Nate and Craig so that we didn't miss our deadline for NOI. The entire project didn't get derailed, and I didn't end up as a project manager failure. So, the biggest thing with problem solving is you have to know what your problem is first of all. Do you know how to fix it? If you don't know how to fix it, find somebody to help you figure it out. Because we don't know everything. Even Paul. He probably won't admit that, but he actually doesn't know everything.
Can you say that again?
He's smiling. He heard me. And you have to use the resources available to you to do that. Does everything have to come to the same thing you did for me with Greg and legal and compliance?
No.
My fate is in the hands of legal and compliance as our offsite. No. Are there things that you can solve every day by yourself? Some things. No, you can't solve all of them. And you can't even solve them all every day within the same day. That's when you have to rely on each other. For the second part of my flat fee story, and hopefully I don't get booed out for this, I believe you'll have a reinstate first contact letter.
Yes.
Still
It's-
waiting on that one.
It's good.
We
It's
had
coming
one.
back. Is it this weekend?
Had.
Is it?
It's being released this weekend. So,
Yeah, they didn't know that.
Yay, thank you, Jodi.
good news. As part of the flat fee project, I believe we're also requiring customers to pay a certain portion of the repo fee to reinstate, correct?
Yes.
That was touch and go for a while. There was a lot of back and forth as to whether or not that was gonna happen. Because of that, a couple versions of the first contact letter were inaccurate. Unfortunately, those we could not get fixed in time to roll out with the rest of the project. I know that's a terrible inconvenience for y'all as well as for the customers. But the good news is, after some correspondence staffing constraints that they were able to overcome, the letter is supposed to be released this weekend. Your fearless leader, Mr. Lindstrom, actually approved it this morning, well before the deadline of the end of the day. So it should be released this weekend, and we can start using it again. So, I would at least clap for Paul.
Legal and compliance have done it, so.
Yes, legal and compliance had already done it. Any questions on the flat fee project? No, y'all are pretty familiar with that one. The one you may not be, aside from specialty cat, so especially you, Bodi. As Paul mentioned, it is us taking legal action against the customer to recover the vehicle. That's all we care about is the car. They've either threatened us or they refuse to surrender it. I can't take all the credit for that. For those of you that know David Berry in Tulsa, he's been pushing
Hey.
and trying to get this
Hey.
project restarted for 4 years
We like that
and
over here.
has jumped through numerous hoops, going all the way up to presenting to Sanjeev and Ravi in order to gain permission for us to even start with a pilot. Nikki,
What?
you're gonna become a fan at some point.
Take a payment on Ritz.
Nikki's gonna make me say something not very nice. During this process, yet again, we had to get legal and compliance approval. We've had to work with correspondence. We've had to work with our tech team. We've had to work with specialty CAT. We've had to work with OOTP. We've had to work with impounds, bankruptcy, estates, more people than you would even think would be involved in this process. Someone in specialty CAT who shall remain nameless, but is sitting right next to CJ,
I
stopped me the other day and said, we have pilot accounts. started very small, started with 29 accounts. We're taking through the entire process to prove, one, that we know what we're doing. Two, we have already learned stuff along the way. And three, we still have a backlog of accounts of almost 1,500. Specialty CAD is getting calls on both. So you have pilot accounts that have very specific behavior required, and you have the backlog accounts, which the behavior is not as strict because we have not sent the required letter. I'm not going to bore you with all that. Nikki stops me and says, hey, I took a call on one of the backlog accounts, and I think I handled it pretty well, but I wasn't entirely sure what to say.
That's not the story I told.
Really? Would you rather me tell Boozer story? For the same customer?
Yeah. Yeah.
No?
This is same customer.
So instead of Nikki whining and complaining because she didn't know what was happening, and she had this account she didn't know what to do with, she asked me if there was anything I had as far as talking points to give her so that she could distribute to her team. It's problem solving right there. She could have found a Paul or Sonia or Gio
Come
or
on.
Siege
Hello, Nikki.
and complained that she didn't know what to do. But she didn't. She took it upon herself to ask me for talking points, which for the backlog accounts we hadn't thought about, I'll be honest with you. So we're working with legal to come up with some talking points to make it easier, not only for Jose Castro's team, where the calls go first, but also for Specialty CAD.
Yeah.
All because of Sonia.
Yes.
So I've given you two different extremes. One is just taking ownership and problem solving yourself. The other one is begging and pleading by text message for legal compliance to save you. A lot of stuff that happens in the middle. What'd you say? Yeah. Paul, do you have anything to add to that?
I would love for them to ask questions.
Yeah. I absolutely do.
Jody, what's your cell phone number so next time I get that call I can text you?
Look, you talked to him twice.
911.
Anybody other than Boozer have a question for Jody? Jody's got a ton of knowledge. She's been here a long time, so whatever. And she's been a computer manager. She understands the plight of associates. She started as an associate before. Collections, Jody? Or?
Yes, I've been here 9 years. Fun fact, Paul and I started on the same day and we were in the same training class. And we've been together ever since. And co-workers have never been the same. I did start on the phones. I was part-time on the dialer, for those of y'all who've been around here long enough. I started on the dialer. I've been in collections.
You know how I feel, Jimmy.
I have led 3 teams, 2 in deficiency and then
PCO?
where CJ was on my team. And now I'm doing the process role. So, any questions? I know this group, other than Boozer, has questions.
Why doesn't Capital One have project managers?
I honestly don't know the answer to that.
I mean, if you're having people be that role, why don't they create them?
I honestly don't know. Paul, do you know the answer to that?
The question was, why don't we have
Project managers. Either one.
So we do have project managers, but they've all been devoted to burning the ships. And so when I say burning the ships, does anybody know what I'm referring to?
Bob J and
That's right. So, and right now you'll see a notice in Pulse that says burn notice, right? Because Bob J is going away. Reinstatements, you're all about to get Tableau in about a week. It's going to be cool. Abraham's working his tail off on that. But yeah, so they've been all devoted to that. But even so, we only have a handful. So Nikki, you have a very valid point that we don't spend a lot of money on project management, and because they always get devoted to this like really big like enterprise-wide stuff, and then we end up using UMs, DMs, process liaisons to manage some of these larger projects. So I think that's good feedback that somebody that works in the command center now might be able to bring to the command center at some point. I don't know who that would be.
Shameless plug.
Anybody else? Any questions for Jodi while she's here? Dwayne?
Oh, no.
Or anytime there's a project, any type of project, it always goes to CAT. Is it because of its compliance reasons? Is that the reason why?
That's a question for your DM because I'm not sure what project you're referring to.
Yes, what projects are you referring to?
Sorry,
Like
Mike.
that, for example, dealing with the recovery.
If you really want
That's just for
that, we
escalation.
can totally give
Yeah.
that.
So a lot of times, these things go to specialty cat or LM cat because they're going to have to deal with escalations that are going to happen as a result of it rolling out, and that's exactly why specialty cat got involved in the replevin issue, in the replevin process, is because we knew there would be customers that escalate, because you guys know, like, customers get mad about everything, and that's why we have our advocacy team, so that they can help de-escalate and prevent these complaints from becoming a bigger issue that end up harming the Capital One brand, right? That's significant, and that's the specialty cat team has a big job to be able to do that and help customers get to a much better place and help make sure that customers are well taken care of and treat them the way they want to be treated if they're in a similar situation. But that's why a lot of times CAT gets involved, is because of those escalations.